people seem to keep, they talk about the script leaking and my decision to not make it for a while, and then I changed my mind and everything. And they kind of sound this like rogues gallery of hurdles that we had to get through. Like, for instance, the snow thing was just really kind of blown out of proportion. I mean, in one way, yeah, we maybe ended up staying in Colorado about a month longer than we probably had planned, but it made the movie 15 times better. So I'm actually glad that everything worked out the way it worked out. We really got the weather we were looking for, as you can see in the movie. We didn't have to piece it together. And frankly, it was just kind of better that we were out there for those first 2 months, and then by the time we left, we were happy to leave. I had the best time making this movie I've had since I did Kill Bill. And it was just a joy. And part of the joy was the fact that I think me and all the actors, we were real happy with the material. We were confident with it. And we had really rehearsed it to a fairly well, so they knew it and I knew it. And it was just fun every day to just kind of get through it and get through the next section of it. And okay, we've done that, now let's move on. And they were just this like crack team. They just knew this material. They knew their characters. I mean, I would have expected to be sitting on the set and having to work out the dynamic of them with a chain. Okay, when you do this, it kind of turns you into like a yo-yo, and you have to wind up and then unwind as he changes direction. And I just sat back and watched. They kind of did all that on their own and figured it all out, and I just got to be this happy audience member watching it.
It was just a truly great night in the theater. I mean, Quentin read all of the stage direction, and you also got to watch Quentin direct the actors on stage, and the script is so brilliant. So it just worked beautifully. You know, it's that thing that Quentin was just talking about. If they had read it again the next night, I would have gone again, because it was so incredibly entertaining. It flew by in a flash, and it was just like eating a great meal. You just never wanted it to end. I had no idea it would be a movie or anything. I mean, it was like a month or two later, I got the call that he was interested in me for reading for him. So I just truly appreciated it on its own, and it was unlike any theatrical experience I've ever witnessed. It was great night.
The experience for me was interesting because I just got a phone call from Quentin one day. I wrote this script. Want to do a reading of it. You know, would you be a part of that? I thought, yeah, that's gonna be fun. Usually, every once in a while, a director calls you, and you know, you get together with friends and you read it out so the director can hear it and see the weaknesses and strengths of the screenplay. And I thought that's what it was. And then there was going to be a rehearsal of it on a Thursday afternoon. And I thought, wow, he's pretty serious about getting this in shape for somebody to hear. And then there was all the people there on Thursday, and we were reading and having a great time. And then later, there was going to be another rehearsal tomorrow on Friday, and I thought, man, he's serious about this. And then the next day on Friday, I learned that this was the screenplay that had been leaked, and I thought, oh, okay, well, he wants to hear this thing played one time. And then I learned that day that it was going to be in front of 1,500 people at the Ace Theater in Los Angeles, and I thought, oh, well, okay, this is like a performance. And just before we started, I asked Quentin, I said, do you want to see this played out as a play, or do you want in a movie fashion? Do you want to see how some of this stuff plays out? And he said, kind of both. Play it for them, but I want to see it too. And it was a really fun night. It seemed like a 5-hour read to me. I mean, it seemed like it just took forever to get through it. But I could see the audience was having a good time with it. But it was I thought it was just fun to be a part of it for you that night. He was all dressed up in his cowboy gear, and he was the narrator. He was narrating everything, all the exposition and stuff. And then the audience got a kind of a fun thing that night, which was kind of a surprise, which is really what they came for without knowing it. It's like, it's like nothing else. During the course of the evening, of course, sometimes some of the actors get a little bit lost with it, and you kind of try to get these rhythms going, and in that process sometimes find yourself getting straying from the words. And Quentin would jump in and say, hey, let's stick to what it is. And he would direct it. and the audience got to see him work with the actors and how they respond and how a little bit of how it's put together. And I think that was a little bit of magic for everybody. They got to see that night. That was kind of the most fun part of the evening for me.
I realized how in some of the things in the script I was actually kind of wrong about, because you see it happen all the time in movies. All the time in movies, you see the stagecoach driver just get off the stagecoach and go and get some water or have a little dialogue with this one or have a little dialogue with that one. That would never, ever happen. Their job is to hold on to these 6 horses. There's no little like you take the reins and just wrap it slightly around a tree branch, all right? You're going to keep 6 horses there. So in the script, when Mannix says, stagecoach driver, will you come down here? Well, in the script, he came down to listen to what was going on. And but then Jimmy kind of informed me that would never, ever, ever happen. And one of the more realistic lines in the movie is like, I got to hold these horses. I can hear you fine from up here. Well, actually, I think Tim Roth does a much better Terry Thomas than Christoph Waltz was. I mean, it breaks my heart every time somebody says that. And it's my fault because I put him in gray. It literally is that. I put him in fucking gray, and that's why you're saying that. Because I always saw this European guy as in gray. But, he's not Christoph Waltz. He's doing a very English thing. I would never hire Christoph to be an English dandy. He could be a Austrian dandy, he could be a Bavarian dandy, but I wouldn't cast him to be both a Terry Thomas British twit who then turns into Bill Sykes in the last second. I would never hire Christoph to do that. It's a very, very English thing. I literally think it's because I dressed him in gray is why you say that. And that's my fault. Well, revenge in real life is whatever it is. It probably is sort of foolish, and it's probably very similar to what Hattori Hanzo says about it in Kill Bill. It's like a forest, and it's easy to lose your way and to forget where it is that you came in. But in movies, it's great. There is nothing that affects me at all in movies quite the way it does when a character I want to see gets satisfaction. And leading up to me making movies, for the most part, with a few handful of exceptions, the satisfaction was never good enough. They never got quite the appropriate revenge as far as I was concerned. There was too much of a worrying about morality and too much of worrying about, but on the other hand, we have to think about his soul. On the other hand, what is this actually saying? Fuck all of that. All right, it's your job to set it up in a way that it's satisfying. Now, I say all that shit, and that's not entirely true if you look at my work, all right? If that was the case, then the bride's vengeance towards Bill would be a bloodbath, and it's not. All right. And now, if you asked me when I was on page 20 how it would end, I would have described something rather bloodthirsty. In the course of writing the piece, it ended up being something wholly different. Thanks a bunch. That was great. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out. Oh, wow. This is the Jess Franco one? Yes. Oh, excellent.